The next company to present is Dicot. Dicot develops a modern potency drug with the ambition of creating a therapeutic drug that has a longer lasting effect and fewer side effects than those found on the market today. And with us here we have the CEO of Dicot, Elin Trampe. Please give her a warm hand.
Thank you. Hello everyone, great to be here. So Elin Trampe, I'm CEO of Dicot, a drug development company located in Uppsala. So as previously said, our business idea is to develop a drug that treats erectile dysfunction and premature ejaculation better than existing drugs on the market. And this is a topic that is rarely mentioned, rarely discussed, but I will take you through what we work with. Actually, looking at the numbers, it's over half of all men in the world that experience erectile dysfunction in some degrees. People tend to get quite surprised when you see these high numbers. Contributing factors are age, that's one of them, as you also see here in the numbers. But it can also be stress, depression, other underlying diseases like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, etc. And the person that is affected or has these issues are always faced with lack of self-esteem. It's quite stigmatized today to talk about this. It can lead to depression, etc. But it's not only the man who is affected. I mean, there is a partner, there's a relation, and this can create quite some problems. So it's important. Looking at the market size, today it's worth 4.2 billion euros worldwide. And we see that the demand for drugs are increasing heavily. It's 3% per quarter. Looking at from 2018 until today, we see that the market is up over 40%. And with an aging population, etc., we can only expect these numbers to increase going forward. There are drugs available today. I think most of us have heard about Viagra. But these drugs were developed 30 years ago. And since that, not so much has happened. And we see that these drugs actually comes with some challenges. They have side effects. We can also see that 35% among diabetes patients, it's up to 70% that don't get the desired effect. So they are so-called non-poor responders. And we can also see that these drugs have quite short time of duration. So you need to plan your sexual activity. And that is not sort of increasing the quality of life for these couples. We have men every week, all the time, reaching out to me, to us, saying that we have tried current drugs, it's not helping me, or I get these side effects like headaches or hangover feelings, so I don't want to use them any longer. When will your product be available on the market, etc. So we notice just, within Sweden, that there are a demand for new drugs. So what we are doing, we are addressing these issues. Our goal is to provide a drug with longer duration of action, improved efficacy, so be able to help even those that are not satisfied today, and also that comes with less side effects. And we are actually aiming at being the first choice of treatment. So a little bit about our drug candidate. We call it LIB01. It's a new molecule originating from nature. So it all started with the professor, Jarl Wikberg, who was employed and active at Uppsala University by the time. He worked within this field, and he was at the scientific congress down in South Africa, and he heard that men in Madagascar who had these type of issues, they were drinking a decoction made from roots from a tree that was growing there. And he got quite interested, so he started a collaboration with these local scientists, and he managed to isolate and understand what type of molecule that was giving this effect that all these men talked about and experienced for many years. And he also managed to see how this can be processed, manufactured via a couple of synthesis steps as well. So we have what we call a semi-synthetic molecule today. We are in a preclinical phase, and it started with then Jarl Wikberg, who did sort of early academic research. He did it on rats, and he could see this long-term effect on the erectile function. And he could also see that the ejaculation was delayed with up to 250% among these animals. 2018, Dicot was founded, and Jarl Wikberg was the founder, is the founder. And we managed to raise capital or financing to move into sort of doing studies in validated models. And we're working with a CRO down in France, it's called Pelvifarm, and they also have expertise in this area. And last year, we could see by giving this substance subcutaneously, the long-term effect could be demonstrated, and we also tried on rats with diabetes and proven erectile dysfunction, and we could see the effect. And a couple of weeks ago, we told the market that we are now prioritizing the development of a oral drug candidate for the start of the clinical phases to test this in humans. And that is planned to start middle of next year. And we have, of course, talked to experts, clinicians, doctors, who are very skilled in this area and meet patients every day. And they can confirm that, I mean, if we would succeed with this, like Chris McCain says, he is at the Australian Center of Sexual Health. Once a week medication with proven efficacy, it would be a game changer for these persons. I mean, you can go back and live a quite normal life. You don't have to think about this. Professor Arthur Burnett, he is active at the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine in US. He also said that LIB01 could replace current available drugs if we could demonstrate these claims. Dicot, we are a quite small company now, and the plan is not to do this on our own, to develop and launch this drug on a big global market. We intend to enter partnership with bigger, more established pharma companies, and we plan to do that sometime around phase 2A, when we have this proof of concept in humans. We're talking about out-licensing, upfront payments, milestone payments to further develop and invest in this. This is our targeted development plan, so you can see what we're aiming for here. We are now in the preparation for the clinical phases, and the plan is to enter that into middle of next year. And then to do the long-term development together with partners somewhere around 2024 and forward. I also mentioned briefly that we could see the potential to also treat premature ejaculation, which is also a huge indication affecting up to 25% of men. And it's also a significant market value. And one can say that there are no good treatments out there. There is a Fortocin, like a local, that you add locally, a spray, and there is Prilogy, a drug for depression from the start, to treat depression. So if we could do anything here, it will be very welcomed, could make a lot of use. The patent portfolio, we have 2 patent families. We have one for the molecule itself, and we have one for the manufacturing of the substance. Market exclusivity until 2033. But we also have 10 documented trade secrets, which is of great value to us, and that could be invested in patent and then expand the period for another 20 years. This clock does not work, so I don't know how I am with time. Okay. I have 2 slides left, I think. Some short company facts. Headquartered in Uppsala. We are a so-called virtual organization. So we just have a few employees, a leadership team coordinating all the activities going on. No in-house operational work to minimize high fixed costs. We are listed on Spotlight since 2018. We have a market cap around 6 million euros. Many shareholders, mainly Swedish, 3,300. We did a rights issue last autumn, and we have warrants connected to that. The period for that is first 2 weeks in June. Very short, I will not go through this in detail, but this is the management team at Dicot. So I'm the CEO. I recently took over from Göran Beijer, who is still in the company, but as a consultant, so that's very good. We have quite new, also started CFO, Björn Petersson, experience from Flat Capital, Neodynamics, and other life science companies. And we have Nina Knave, who is the director of the pharmaceutical project. That was all from me. Thank you very much for your attention.
Well, thank you very much, Elin. Perfect timing. Even if you did the clock, the down calculator didn't work. There's a lot of taboos in this area, as you started out with. How does this affect the possibility or the interest from the investors, just to approach and talk about these subjects?
Yeah, but I think, I mean, not only for the people affected that they dare to talk about this, to get away from all the stigmatized of this topic, but it's also that, I mean, even if we see a high market value today, that could be, I mean, expanded because there are not so many that is, I mean, it's hard to actually make contact to the doctor and talk about this issue. So some doesn't know that there are, I mean, treatments today that are available.
So if this works all through the clinical stages, there can also be a need for better communications with the patients and doctors, and just patients understanding that there is a drug that works.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And we can of course support in that communication.
Markets. What global markets are you looking at? What countries are the where you will be primarily focusing on initially?
I mean, US is, of course, I would say our main focus. But, I mean, the problem exists all over. So, I mean, Asia is a huge market as well. Nordics, this is where we are now, the company. So it's also, of course, close to our heart.
So pretty much everywhere except Madagascar, because they already have the...
Yeah, but, yeah.
That was a bad joke. Well, thank you very much for listening to Elin, and thank you very much, Elin, for coming. Thank you so much. Thank you.